Hello, welcome. Hello, welcome. So I am wanting to let you guys know that I'm looking both up and down because I have two screens going. I'm on live as well as here on Zoom with you guys. Please, if you have a good set of headphones, do grab them. It sounds better. If you need water, grab it close by. Do get a piece of paper and pen. I would like us to engage in some frontal lobe cognitive actionable. So we're engaging our conscious thought first before we do any meditative work, and we'll begin soon. Okay, so now that you have your piece of paper and pen, I want you to write down on your paper what your fear is. So you can say my fear, or I have a fear of. And also maybe perhaps how you've been dealing with that fear. Okay, let's begin this other part. So I'm going to tell and share with you guys how we perceive and how we respond to fear. Usually there's just two ways our neural system, our brain responds to fear. And then we're going to do the next part, which is the guided meditation and hypnosis. And today's hypnosis is different. We're working at the alpha brain wavelength, and I'll go a little bit more in depth about that after. So when we respond to fear, oftentimes we feel that energy in our lungs. And why I say lungs is because like when we're afraid, we either hold our breath, we forget to breathe, or we're breathing a lot in a very fast pace, so we're hyperventilating. When we do that, we're not really getting oxygen properly, and we feel that energy in our chest area, in our lungs. And what ends up happening is that our adrenaline gets going, and then we start not really being able to focus properly. One of two things would happen. We either fight, so that means we are trying to either push back or resist back, or we can even take out that energy on someone else unwarranted. That means they didn't say much, or they said something to us that triggered us, and then we lash out at them and we're overreacting beyond what we would have in a normal circumstance. And another way of reacting is flight. So meaning we can run away, physically removing yourself from the situation, or it could be a little bit less direct in the sense that we are hiding from it. So we can suppress those feelings of finding ways to distract ourselves, working more, just to hide and push away that feeling. So we're kind of like hiding ourselves. So there are those two ways. And the process of engaging our conscious thought is so that we're activating that thought process. We're making that contextual association first, and how our mind frames those pathways, those associations we've made. Now, why meditation and hypnosis is because it works on a deeper level. And today's hypnosis is more on the alpha brain wavelength state. So who here knows about what brain waves are? Okay, so our brain waves goes into 4 different states. It can go to beta, so we're alert, consciously thinking, acting upon stuff, making decisions like now. Alpha, which is a little bit more relaxed. So in the brainwave of alpha, we're more in that meditative resting brain state, okay? And it's also when we're having that kind of quiet flowing of thoughts, that's in that alpha. And then we have the theta and delta, which are deeper, and sometimes I work in those states as well, but the alpha is what we're working on, because overall the alpha waves aids in overall mental coordination. So kind of helping us kind of figure and plan things out and make those connections. It also induces calmness, which is always lovely. And then alertness as well. So we're not going in so deep so that we're almost like lucid dreaming or sleeping. That's like delta, like deep sleep, REM sleep. And then we also have that body and mind integration and learning. So today I want us to learn new associations and to disconnect from how we see fear and how we've handled fear. And also have that mind-body connection, because everything we feel, see, do, connects with our body, and even though we may not express it out verbally, emotionally, our body will. So it can appear in forms of what we call body syndromes. So for example, people who are feeling fear and feeling that stress, they might feel aches and pains in their shoulder, or people who are trying to fight, they might feel more agitated, and they might feel it in their arms and hands, or they have that energy one pushing out, or they might see skin rashes just appears on their body. And then with a running away, flight, their legs, and they can feel aches and pains in their legs, or something wrong with their legs, again, rashes or stuff. So that can appear, and that's why when we integrate with our mind and body, it's so powerful, because we're not only healing one component, we're doing the wholeness, we're unifying all three, mind, body, and spirit. So that's why we're working on the alpha brain wavelength state, and that's why it's so cool that we're doing meditation mixed with that hypnosis of alpha waves. And that's what we're going to do today. So to help us sink deeper, because in that subconscious part of our mind, we've learned how to deal with our fears. We've learned how to cope with our fears. So everything you wrote down is just to get focusing cognitively and consciously on it. I don't need you to share it, so you don't have to worry about that. You can just keep that aside for now. And then when we go into the subconscious, it's like our beliefs, our past behaviors, our life experiences, how we dealt with things, that all sinks into our subconscious. So let me give you an example. When you're learning how to ride a bicycle for the first time, we actually have to be very consciously thinking about it. We don't have any of those mental, emotional, or physical memories or muscle memories. So we have to be alert. We have to think about how do I keep my balance, which leg goes on, how do I steer, how do I look around so that I'm not going to ride into a tree or traffic. And then once we kind of get it, we kind of becomes more automated. That's when it goes into that subconscious part of our mind. And so when you're riding your bicycle every day, for example, to and from a certain place, and one day you have to change that location, you, without thinking, you realize you're halfway back to your regular place, which is probably maybe say home. And you're like, oh, tracks, I took the wrong exit, wrong route. Why? Well, that's because you're already in that subconscious thought. You're not thinking about it. It's just automated and doing it in that mind frame. It knows what to do. So that's why our conscious thought just kind of shuts off. Can you imagine having to consciously think about having to learn or how to ride our bikes every day? That is very exhausting. So that's how our brain will deal with fear as well. It's learned ways to cope and move past through fears, or cope with fears. And those past experiences, those subconscious level of thinking and programming and framing that we've done might have helped us in the past, but over time, it might not work now. So we're going deep down to kind of reframe and reprogram and disconnect some of those things that no longer serves us and helps us, and reconnect things that will help us moving forward. Does that sound good? Awesome. Okay. So when you're ready, please settle in, make yourself comfortable. You can either lie back, sit back, or lie down, and we'll begin. Take a nice couple deep breaths in, connect with your breath to your body. And as you release, kind of give a nice sigh. It's almost like I'm letting it go. And you'll notice your body naturally falling and releasing as you do so. Take a nice couple of deep breaths again. And this time when you're breathing in, notice any tension or aches in your body. Breathe into that area. Like the energy I mentioned, breathe that into that area, bring that energy and tension to that area, and then bring out that energy by releasing it through your mouth. Wonderful. Let's continue to do that a couple of times. Focus in. To help you dissociate from distractions, please close your eyes if you're comfortable. If you're not, you may choose to look at a spot and focus on that one spot. And if you're new to this process, please do not worry how it should feel, right or wrong. There's no right or wrong way of feeling. You'll notice a difference the more you do this, because like anything, it's a part of our brain that we haven't used before. So if it's new, it might feel foreign, it might feel even uncomfortable. You might feel like you're doing it wrong. You're not. It's just a new mental muscle memory you're using, and there's no memory there. So that's why it doesn't feel as natural, and you may not go as deep into the process, and that's quite all right. You will gain whatever you need from today, and those are small little building blocks. The more you do it, you'll notice that you'll become better at it. You'll notice, not better in a sense, but you'll notice a difference. And as we go through our today's session, as you continue to deep breathe and release out any of that tension, any aches, you may notice everyday noises around you. Perhaps if there's someone else around you, or if there is sounds in case your phone or computer buzzes or rings, or outside noises. Just understand that these noises are everyday noises you're familiar with. And the more you listen to them, you can choose to focus on them. But right now, at this moment, there's nothing you need to do. So you can let each of those sounds remind you that you have this time and space here that you have created and chosen for yourself. And isn't it comforting to know that you don't need to respond to those sounds at all? And you can allow yourself to be supported in this comfortable trance. Those sounds will just remind you to be at ease even further. And when you're ready, take a nice couple deep breaths, just like how you have your eyes closed already right now. You can experience a wonderful distance from the usual cues you get around the world in your environment. You can allow it to simply slip away, and you can experience this comfortable feeling of distance and allowing your body, noticing how it feels, the support, the heaviness of it, the surface of that support, while your thoughts and imagination allows you to be completely somewhere else entirely. And for now, there's nothing you need to do. Just feel yourself, notice how your body feels. And using your imagination in your mind's eye, I'd like for you to find in your mind that place where you can feel that you can pull all of that energy into. And like earlier, we talked about it, I mentioned how we have that energy, fear trapped in our chest. So it's not fear energy that I want you to hone in. I want you to just think of any energy you spent today, whether it's doing work or whether it's on the computer or engaging in a conversation with someone, whatever you were doing today. Bring all that energy that you spent, bring it all back in, and it could be in any different part of your body, wherever you choose. So it can be your head, your shoulders, your neck, your gut, wherever that area is for you. Please pull all of that energy in. And it's different for everyone, and that's okay. So pull all of that energy into that place now. Now, using your imagination, when you're ready, allow for yourself to drift out of your body, feeling lighter as you do so, and you can sense or imagine and see it. And as you do so, just kind of turn around, look at yourself, look at how rested you are, that neutral state you are, just like when you're sleeping or when you watch and you know that someone's asleep. Take note of how you're resting and relaxing, and as you do so, turn around and face the front and easily and lazily just float to the wall in front of you and touch that wall. And when you're ready, easily and naturally float back and sink deeper into your center core where you pulled all of that energy into. And notice that each time we do this, you're going to come back into your body, going deeper and deeper in. Now, if you will, come out of your body again, and this time, feeling that lightness again, drifting out easily and lazily and gently, go to the wall behind you and touch it. And when you're ready, come back in, sinking deeper into that center core, much deeper than you were before. Now come out of your body again, this time move to the wall on your right. And then come back into your body, that deep center core becoming a place that feels good to be in now. sinking deep into that center core. And then now please drift out of your body and go to the wall on your left. And then come back into that deep center core of your physical body, a place that is familiar to you because this is your body. Feeling safe and secure, no one wanting or expecting anything of you right now in this moment. And now see if you can float up out of your body once more. And this time you're going to continue to float up, feeling lighter and lighter until you're all the way up to the ceiling. Float up in any position you like to allow you to feel that weightlessness. And when you're ready, just float up there in any position, and you can then slowly, gently float back down like a bubble, back down into that wonderful, warm, deep center core of your physical body. Deep down now. Snuggle deep into that center core where you can rest. And as you continue to rest in that deep center core, pull any little bits of energy you may have left. So gather it and bring it all back in, because this is your energy and it belongs to you. And when you've done so, just rest for a moment. And as you're resting still, allow for yourself to imagine a few things. So I'm going to ask you to imagine and be aware of a vehicle. Perhaps it could be a bicycle or a car, whatever it is, picture it in your mind's eye. And once you got it in your mind's eye, now see if you can imagine it really vividly. And once you got it nice and vivid in your mind, please nod your head so that I know. Now you're going to look at your vehicle, whether it's a bicycle or car, and I want you to just take notice of what color it is. And once you got the color, please open either the door or get onto your bicycle. And then just look around. Notice the handle. What color is the handle? Either the steering wheel or the bicycle handlebar. And then take notice if there's anything else around, whether a cup holder, good. Now we're going to use your imagination another way. And this time I'd like for you to visualize or imagine something like a tropical beach. And when you get that scene clearly in your mind, please nod your head so that I know. Good, thank you. Now let's imagine and take a look around. When you have that scene vivid in your mind, see what color the sky is. And then look around, what other colors do you notice? And just make a mental note to yourself. And perhaps see if you notice if you're there by yourself or if there's anyone else around. Good. So that shows me how you can imagine and see things or sense things in your mind. And that's allowing us to just relax, but at the same time still stay alert and engage. So the first time you imagine something you were familiar with, and the second time it's something we don't go as often, especially now that we have to physically distance and isolate ourselves. And then next, I'm going to ask you to imagine that it's nighttime. And it's a beautiful, warm, perfect night. And allow yourself to imagine that you're sitting on a park bench looking at a full moon. And when you got that picture clearly or sensation in your mind, please nod your head so that I know. Thank you. Now, in order to see that full moon better, without moving your head while you're still sitting on that park bench or that bench that you're on, I want you to now move your eyes up without moving your head and roll it all the way up, back up into your head as if you could see the full moon right up in the middle of your forehead. So roll your eyeballs all the way back up in your head. And as you do so, your eyelids will lock tightly closed. And the more you try to open them, the tighter they are locking closed. And now you can try to open your eyelids, and you know you can do so, but by doing so, you'll break away from this relaxation. So they are trying to lock tighter and tighter so you can keep this relaxation. And you can just simply stop trying and just let go into that nice, calm relaxation, releasing any tension you might feel in your eye muscles and bringing that relaxation through your body all the way through to your toes. And continue to let that flow of relaxation and calmness flow through your entire body, letting every muscle, nerve, and tendon and tissue in your body to go just relax, release, and loose and very calm. You may notice your breathing is easy and deep. And you can send a wave of deep calmness right from the top of your head down to the tips of your fingers and slowly and calmly moving down to the tips of your toes. And just allow yourself to just rest there for a moment. And as you're resting, you'll notice the music coming back on, and it's just to ground you in this space here and now. The more you relax, it is a natural process that your mind will wander more. Might be thinking about things you need to deal with or worrying about different things. And right now, let the music bring you back here and now, connecting with your body to that relaxed state. Now, in the moment that you enjoy right now, that relaxed, calm state, so completely relaxed and at ease, I want you to imagine the word fear. Just imagine the word, and you can spell it out to yourself. And it's just a 4 simple letter word that came to such an influential part, plays a part in our lives, in our past. And fear became something in the past that you tried to take ownership of, perhaps. And in the past, you thought things like, my fear of, and you can imagine whatever you wrote down earlier. Or it could also be things that you told people, I have a fear of. And in the past, you tried and were pretty successful at making your fear, whatever you have written down or whatever you have shared with people before, you know that it is true and you have shared it with them or you've written it down. But today we are going to let go of that attempted ownership because it is never done anything that is useful to us. It is no good to you. And just by simply processing it and saying it all the time and sharing about it, we're ingraining that muscle memory, that mental memory. And so we can choose to let that go. And you know that can be true. So the way that we overcome this old fear, or it could be a new one, hidden or disguised from something that's old and changed and evolved, but it's still in the past because it could be happening a minute ago, a second ago, weeks or months or years. And that old fear is in the past, of the past. And it's to really look at that word fear. F-E-A-R. And as we look at that word, we simply allow our mind to associate the fear that we tried to take ownership of in the past. And that fear that caused us difficulty in the past is now going to be connected in your mind to the word fear. So whatever you're fearful of or worried about, connect it to that word fear. Just for the remainder of today's session. So allowing yourself to relax even deeper and further and more completely now with each and every breath that you take. Imagine very easily the words, the letters, the word fear, and each letter, making it nice and vivid in your mind, as if they were written on a blackboard, on a whiteboard, or even a sheet of paper. Or it could be even typed out on a computer. F-E-A-R. Or you can even have it written in the sky before you. And as you imagine the word fear, you realize that in the past, you imagined this word with a little word in front of it. That little word was my. And perhaps you didn't even realize you tried to attach that little word in front of it. But somewhere along the line in your mind, you tried to do that. You tried to put that word, my, in front of the word fear. Now when you're ready, take a nice, long, deep, comfortable breath. And just imagine that little word becoming even smaller and smaller as it changes in your mind's eye from my to an even smaller word, ah. And just let it happen in your mind. So changing the word my to ah. So instead of my fear, we're changing that word as if someone was rubbing it off from the sky or blackboard, or pushing that backspace on your computer and typing the word ah, and we're replacing it. And just let it happen. In your mind, you can now choose to try and own that change. You can now imagine that the words in front of you have now become a fear. Because you no longer choose to try and own such a negative energy, feeling that you associate with. So just let my go and replace it with ah. And as you focus on this image in your mind of fear, you realize that it could now be anyone's or no one's at all. It is just fear. You no longer take ownership of it, and it feels good to be free of it. And as each moment carries you comfortably further and further into this relaxation, sinking deeper and deeper in, you allow your mind to imagine the words beginning to change again. You're not sure what is happening to change them at the first moment, but just allow yourself to just internalize this sensation, this process. And you let yourself realize that the word fear is becoming hazy, becoming blurry, out of focus, or in actuality, it is just the letter E remaining, or you realize now that the letter E is the fifth letter of the alphabet. And so now as we count down from the fifth place, the letter becomes hazier and hazier and allowing it to fade completely away. Just like how you're singing that alphabet tune to yourself. Just allowing it to fade into nothingness. So counting and saying those letters backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just allowing it to completely fade away and be gone. And as your mind effortlessly adjusts in this new heightened state of awareness, it moves and shifts with positive purpose to create a new and improved meaning for you. You find yourself looking at the letters in your mind. A, F, A, R. So see if you can make those letters appear to you nice and vivid. A, F, A, R. And if you put all those letters together, you can just whisper it to yourself what it spells. That's right, afar. And in this highly focused state of mind, you now understand on every level of awareness that the old fear you have now released never was yours to own. And because of this new understanding, it has changed and shifted and moved. It is now in your mind far away. Just far, far away, nice and afar. You may even notice it from afar, and as it continues to move further and further away, with each and every breath that you take until in a very short amount of time, it is simply barely visible, and it just disappears from out of sight. Never to be seen or accepted by you again. And you have chosen to improve, and so you have decided to take and disconnect that ownership and just move it far away. You have chosen to free yourself and to put that old challenge far, far away from you. And you have done so because you are in control of your own well-being. And you see now that this is a new day. You can make new associations, free from fear, fearless. And tomorrow is a new day. And with each passing day is new days to come, building new associations. And each new day is free of the old useless fears for you. And because you are in control, it feels good to be free. You may notice a shift of energy in your body. Sometimes, as we talked earlier on, people associate fear in different parts of their body and it's trapped, that energy. And we, as I mentioned earlier, as we talked earlier, fear can be something we can run away from, hide from, or we can fight against. That could be energy trapped in our arms, so we're blocking it, fighting, pushing it away. Or it can be energy trapped in our shoulders, feeling that weight and heaviness because it's bogging down on us. Or I could feel it in our legs because we're trying to run away from it. And you may feel that there's a shift now. Notice how your body is feeling, sensing it feeling lighter. And it feels good. And allow yourself to enjoy this feeling, taking notice of your internal experiences. And as you become aware of what comes to mind, it's things for you to take note of. And it will deepen your process even further. And feeling that complete lightness and calm now, and because you are at peace, feeling that release, you begin to feel free of those tensions, anxieties, and fears. And now you realize you are more in control and more confident and sure of yourself because you have taken this enormous step to do that deep subconscious work of helping yourself and doing the unprogramming and dissociation, disconnecting wires you no longer need. It's like plugging in the laptop for energy and reconnecting those wires with ones that you want. And you're beginning to feel a strength building from within you, motivating you to overcome any and every obstacle that may stand in the way of your purpose, of your happiness, of your journey. And you find that from this moment on, you're developing more self-control. You now face every situation in a calm and relaxed state of mind. Your thinking is clearer and sharp, and you feel yourself sinking in that control, that feeling of power, and gaining that sense of confidence, and expanding more and more each day. You now realize that in the past, you sometimes felt as though you were overwhelmed or felt a bit helpless. And that is no longer. You're now replacing those feelings with confidence, strength, and self-control. Because you are in charge of your own life, the emotions, the thoughts, the mind frame you set to connect and associate with. And mentally, physically, just allow that emotionally to absorb and connect as one, feeling that strength, that freedom, that confidence, and that empowerment of self-control, choosing new associations. And in a moment, when you're ready, I'm going to guide you guys back into awareness again. And so that the next time when you're listening to this recording or you join back in for another session, if you hear the words calm or deeper or rest, you can allow for your conscious mind to rest and let go, sinking deeper into that calm, restful state while your subconscious stays completely alert to allow you to do the work you need to do. So in a moment, going to count from 1 up to 5, and when I get to 5, you will return to awareness once again. So 1, slowly and calmly now, easily beginning to feel you're returning to full awareness. 2, your physical body feels very refreshed and calm. 3, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually all connected now. 4, your eyes beginning to feel sparkling and clear, feeling that calmness and restedness, this energy that you have created, and continue this easily when you go to bed tonight and when you sleep. This will continue on and allow it to happen. And 5, take a nice deep breath in, fully aware of everything around you. You might notice your body. You can slowly start stretching it out, feeling it. And take another nice deep breath in as you're stretching and moving your body. You can slowly open your eyes when you're ready. Then stretch and yawn and release anything left. And when you're ready, you may sit up. And when you're ready to rejoin us, please unmute, and then we'll have a small little reconnection before we end today's session. How is everyone feeling right now?
Relaxed.
Good. Yes, relax is the goal. All right. Are you feeling relaxed as well?
Yeah, I agree. Completely relaxed, ready to bed.
Good. That's why we're doing these sessions so late. I know someone asked before, it's like, why are we having them at 8 o'clock at night? And then usually
It's
ends up
perfect.
around 9. Yeah, that's exactly the reason why. So when I lead the sessions, I work with altering our brain wavelength states. And a lot of times this can be heightened and continued on when you go to sleep. So that's why I try to keep it close to, because if not, usually it has a 3-hour space where it's still processing, and then if you continue in your sleep, it actually goes on even longer. That's why I've decided to do it at this time, not because I want to keep you guys up if in case you guys go to bed early. With that piece of paper, whatever you wrote, I want you to fold it up and then write the word afar, just to really kind of disconnect and reconnect that new association. So if you're new to these sessions, a lot of times I like to do the cognitive and subconscious work and back to the active cognitive state. So we're engaging physically and engaging our different senses. And that really anchors us in the moment when we're doing things to deepen this process. And when you've written it afar, you can just either recycle that piece of paper, but for now, let's just toss it out and like let it go really, really far away. See how far you can throw it away. How did that feel?
Great.
Yeah, I see some smiles. That's good. Okay. I have mentioned earlier, if you've joined the sessions before, please feel free to share about them. I do these weekly now, so they'll be every Thursday. If you do have Instagram, I'll write it in the group chat after in case you can't remember everything. So if you click on the menu bar at the bottom, you'll pull up a chat. There's this link that I sent you all. You can share that with other people if you feel that they can benefit from it as well. So it's rainorShineTherapy.com. Find Your Peace Weekly. It's a mouthful. So it's free, and pay it forward. You can share about it. If you can't afford it, it's by donation as well. And there's a link for the donation. And any amount is appreciated. I understand these are difficult times for everyone. And lastly, if you do have Instagram or Facebook, you can find me there, Rain or Shine Therapy as well. And you can follow me there and follow me on Instagram. I do post up every Wednesday what I will be doing for the Thursday to come. So you can find out what the focus will be on. Follow me there. If you feel like leaving me a review, that's also great, awesome as well, and much appreciated. So before we all go, we're going to just take a couple minutes and I want you to gather up all that positive new energy, that new lightness, and then let's bring it to our heart centers. So we're just going to gather up, take a deep breath and bring it to heart centers. And I want you to continue to channel that energy and let's think of the people who have been, really there for us, as well as those who are working in difficult jobs and really serving the community and putting their family or themselves at risk. And just send out that positive, loving energy towards them as well. And let's bring that all in. And before we all go, let's wave and say goodnight to each other and just connect once again. And I do this weekly, so I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was great. It was really, really great.
Lovely. Everybody sleep well.
You too.
Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye. Good night.